Hello and welcome back to Back Corner Comics. And today we're going to be talking about an interesting title, and that is going to be Epitaphs of the Abyss, the library edition, particularly the Slipcase edition, which is uh, one up above the just standard hardcover. So, to kind of give a little history on this title, this is considered an EC Comics, an EC comic release through Oni. I don't know the licensing and how that's figured out, but this is separate from, Tales of the Crypt and Two Fisted Tales and all of that stuff, all those like original, run of EC Comics. And these are new kind of titles, right? That's going to carry forward the EC name. And this is in particular with Oni, so it's not with Dark Horse, it's not with Fantagraphics, it's not with Toshin, which is interesting. I don't know how those titles are broken up and how those publishing rights are broken up, but I imagine that they have been segmented in a way that allows for something like Epitaphs of the Abyss to exist. Now, Epitaphs of the Abyss is a collection of this title, but there's other ones. There's Cruel Universe, there's like a vampire one, there's one shots, and all of this other stuff. I don't particularly know of all of them, so if you know of them and you want to list them below or you have any knowledge on that, I would love to hear it. I'd love to know. What interested me with this particular release, I didn't really care for it. I'll be honest. I'm a big EC head and I love EC. If you've seen the channel, you know that. But in particular, I wasn't that excited about the prospects of like new artists and new writers kind of tackling, the EC name. It feels kind of blasphemous and, in my opinion. So I stayed away from, the single issues and the trade paperbacks. But when I saw that Oni was releasing the library editions in a slipcase, it reminded me of the Russ Cochran slipcases from back in the day. And so, it got me excited to kind of be, on the ground floor of, EC slipcase releases, right? So I, took the plunge. I've never read one of these and I kind of just, I spent the $90 and I got the slipcase edition. And as you can tell, it's designed well. One of the things that I really wish they did was to give it more of a pronounced artwork instead of this, like, these are the new kind of crypt keepers, the new masters of horror or whatever, however you want to call it. Um, but I just wish it was more pronounced. I think it would give it more of a punchy feel, just like the Russ Cochran slipcases. But I don't know if that's what they're referencing or if that's what they want to do. I don't know. Um, but what sets this slipcase apart from just the regular library edition, which I'll show you right now. So this is the library edition, right? So this is just the hardcover. It's really nice. As you can tell, it has this nice gold accent. It's very glossy, high quality. Now, one of the things I don't like about this slipcase, and we'll kind of get into it a little more, is that I wish that the slipcase edition came with one of the variant covers. So there's variant covers to this particular release, and I wish it came with one of the variant covers, or maybe it's random. That would be really cool. Jay Stevens, who did Dwellings, if you're familiar with that, it's a very cool, like EC inspired, like anthology series with a continuing narrative, of course. But I wish they would have included one of his, or whatever. But here is this. We'll look at the stories inside in a bit, but I kind of just wanted to address the slipcase first. So then you get a portfolio piece. And this particular portfolio piece is going to include all of the covers that the lead cover artist, Lee Bermejo of Batman fame, he did that really good Joker story with Azzarello, and I think he did Luther as well. So this guy is kind of prestigious. He did Batman Damned, which had the Batweenus, if you guys remember that whole drama. So it will come with all of the covers he did. No variant covers, unfortunately, They call this gallery, or I forget exactly. They like frameable art. They look good. They're glossy, you know. Most of this is very grotesque. So for those with significant others and wives, I don't think they're going to let us get away with putting these up, unfortunately. Um, so you see, you know, this is the cover of the library edition. Very cool. I'll show you guys just three because I have to, I don't want to deal with too much of this. But very nice, you know, very cool kind of edition. You don't really see stuff like this a lot anymore, and that's one of the reasons why I kind of wanted to pick this up. Like, you know, the Russ Cochran, as the old heads know, Russ Cochran would sell portfolios of the covers of the EC titles. Um, I've been meaning to get my hands on one of those, but again, you know, you have to go through the aftermarket and all that stuff. Has a really nice pull tab too. This does feel premium. This does feel very deluxe in a lot of ways. Worth the price tag. I just wish the slipcase had a little bit more design elements in here. You have, you know, the same kind of background, but with the EC logo. An entertaining comic. Now, are these comics entertaining? You know, let's talk about that. So, how do I feel about Epitaphs of the Abyss? I mentioned my reluctance to picking up the trade paperbacks and the singles and just kind of this whole project in general. Well, I would say I think there's more okay stories in here than amazing stories. But that's not going to stop me from getting more of these slipcases just because of the collectible factor, because I love EC. I've heard that Cruel Universe is way better. Now, that's not to say that there's not good stories in here. There's like amazing writers and amazing artists in here. So let's just get into it. I'll kind of talk about some of my favorite stories. You have this really great, look at this, pretty wicked, scary. There's a lot of glare. Sorry, guys. It's just my lighting setup. Um, you know, you have all your writers and your artists who are working on all of these various stories. And here you have the Gravedigger, who's like, you know, one of the new people, one of the new horror people, masters things. The first issue is pretty good. I like the first issue. I've heard that it was really bad. I liked it. Subsequent issues kind of have let me down in a lot of ways. Like I said, I think there's more okay stories in here than amazing stories. I've read up until issue 8, so I don't know if there's going to be this big breakout story that changes my mind. So far, this is my favorite one, Gray Green Memories. I don't want to spoil it, but it's a zombie tale full of empathy for the zombie, which is very interesting. It's from the zombie's perspective, which I really enjoyed. One of the things that I think made EC work back in the day was back then it was a world of, you know, I don't know how to say it, but the world was not full of irony as it is now, right? And I feel like Feldstein and Kurtzman and Gaines and, you know, all those guys, they were able to like weave in irony in very subtle ways, and it wasn't very like ironic right away. It kind of built up to it. Here you have a lot of these artists and a lot of these writers, you know, going heavy into the irony from the get-go. And, you know, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't work. This particular story, this, for example, is about a vampire who is running because she gets caught, and then she gets on a boat, and then she, you know, starts like eating all the people on the boat, and then they get on a life raft, and then she starts, you know, drinking all their blood, and they die, and it's like, that's it. I don't know like what that's about, right? The irony is that the people got stuck on a boat with a vampire. You know, I mean, there's a lot of stuff about survival and stuff like that there for sure, but it just doesn't have that emotional impact like some of the older EC titles. This one was really cool, very interesting. Felt like Silent Hill almost, very Silent Hilly kind of concept. this story was just not good to me. I mean, you know, like I was saying, there's a lot of stuff going on. There is a story in here. I think it might be this one. Yes, where the artist obviously used John Hamm and I think this is Brad Pitt. John Hamm and Brad Pitt as like reference, and you can just tell so hard. I mean, that's John Hamm, and I don't know. That takes me out of it. This particular story was really cool. It's about ghosts. I don't want to talk about it too much. I don't want to spoil. But this story was good too. I like this one. So it kind of just, for me, I like this story as well. It kind of just boiled down to some of these are okay and some of them are good, some are bad. It's like a mixed bag, really. And should you get the slipcase edition? I don't know. Are you willing to spend the $100 on a collectible item that's a little bit, more collectible? Are you an EC guy? One of the things I want to hear from, or the people I want to hear from, I want to hear from Grant Geisman. Does he like these titles? Has he read them? Does he have any interest? Like all of the older EC guys that are kind of carrying the torch of EC still to this day, right? I mean, granted, they were not involved in the original EC, but certainly they do carry the torch, right? Like, you're never going to find anybody who loves EC more than, Grant Geisman. And so it's like, what do they think about this? Like, what does that group of people think about this? Like, everybody in the Facebook group, like, what is their opinion? And I've never seen it. I don't know. Maybe it'd be cool to hear from them about it one day. And then you get like this gallery in the back. This is Matt Kint. Matt Kint does see, like, why wasn't this included in the? Oh, this is Cruel Universe. I wonder why it's. Why wasn't this included in the portfolio? I would have loved to see some of this. And as you can tell, Andrea Sorrentino, he's a really good artist. I love this one. This is really sick. Very fun and sick. James Decoe, one of the greats. Some vampire stuff. We love vampire media at Back Corner Comics. So yeah, this is the Epitaphs of the Abyss slipcase. As of now, I haven't seen really a video on it. So hopefully, this can find somebody who is interested in the title, or if you guys are just interested in, a collectible like this. But yeah, that is the slipcase. There is a solicitation for Cruel Universe. Hopefully that gets a slipcase. I will be purchasing that if so. If not, then I'll just get the library edition. But yeah, this is Back Corner Comics. Thank you for watching, and I'll catch you guys on the next one.